Alright YouTube, I have a battle here against new master girls who I met on the Team Uber chat forums. I lead off with Bragi, my Porygon 2, as he goes to a Metagross. I traced the clear body and went for Thunder Wave because, as everyone knows, paralyzed Metagross is not good for the opponent. He mashes me, and knowing that I would live regardless of what type of Metagross it was, um, right here I decided to recover off the damage and wait for the Parahacks, but he agilities, and knowing that it was an Agiligros, I went for the Thunderbolt because most Agiligrosses don't pack much special defense, and he agilities again and somehow outsped me, and the Meteor Mash hit, but I Thunderbolted a second time, and right here, figuring that at the 198 HP I could live, I Thunderbolted again, and it ended up working in my favor because I got the Parahacks and ended up killing the Metagross. So I'm up early, 6-5, and he goes to a Celebi, and I have the Ice Beam, so I figured I could kill after I recover. But he starts Calm Minding up, and fearing that it was a Baton Passer, I switched over and went to Freyr, my Metagross, and figured I could scare it off. Thinking it would Calm Mind again, I went for the Ice Punch, and took it just over half, and then it recovered some HP thanks to the leftovers. I went for Ice Punch again just to be sure that I would KO it, and he switched off. I went to Magmortar to take the Ice Punch, and it took it fairly well. It did more than I thought it would do, but it did take it pretty good. And I switched over to Odin to take the predicted fire hit, and he overheats. Now, overheat is common for a Scarf Mortar, so right here I knew I wasn't going to outspeed it, but I didn't think Odin would be much help with 70 HP later in the game unless I could pass a wish to it. So went ahead and let it faint, went over to Thor, and I figured he would expect the Earthquake, so I went for the Flamethrower as a Froslass came in, and I actually expected a Celebi right there, but the Froslass works too. He Destiny Bonds as I went for another Flamethrower. Good move on his part, caught me off guard, and ended up KOing my Wall Breaker, Mixvire. And so we both decide on a new Pokemon. I decided to go over to my Bragi, the Porygon 2, as he went to Magmortar. And right here I decided to use Thunder Wave, knowing that I would live the overheat. And the Thunder Wave was to stop the Scarf that was coming my way. And right here I thought for a little bit of time, just couldn't decide, figured I would go for the recover, misclicked, and hit the Thunderbolt, which it wasn't too big a deal. Porygon 2 wasn't absolutely necessary, but Porygon 2 fainted, and I went over to back to Freyr, Ice Punch, just in case I went back to Celebi, and I knew I would KO, but luckily for him, he got the burn in, which sucked, and it sucked for me, because it helps him out here in the next bit of the game. Switch over, and I go to Joffin to take the Shadow Ball that I predicted coming, and a Toxic on the switch, and I made a pretty good prediction here as he went to Staraptor, got the Toxic in, and expecting some sort of attack, I went ahead and went for Protect, and Close Combat came in, so I knew that it was going to Close Combat the next turn, so switched off and went over to Loki to take the predicted Close Combat, and it worked well. So I got 2 turns of Toxic Stall in, and I figured I could set up Stealth Rock, predicting that Staraptor would switch out. But surprise, surprise, everything's not as you expected. Staraptor stayed in and went for another Close Combat, which was completely different to me. So I went for the Stealth Rock, and figured either way it would help. If he switched out now, it would KO the Staraptor as it came back in, and the Close Combat hit me for some pretty good damage. But the Ice Fang with a -3 defense is going to obviously KO that Staraptor at half HP. And even if it lived somehow, some miraculous reason, the poison would have finished it off. He goes to Gengar. And right here, I figured I would need a safe switch into my Metagross, so I went ahead and let Loki take the Shadow Ball. And because if you've seen my previous video, you know that my Metagross Freyr is a choice banded bullet puncher. So I went for the Bullet Punch. It surprised me that I got a crit and it did such little damage to Gengar. So I knew this thing must be packing some pretty high defense. So to take the next Destiny Bond, I went over to my Joffin because this thing packs Protect. And I was going to try to stall it out. I protected as he energy balled. Good prediction on his part. Didn't want to waste his Destiny Bond pick points, so I wished right here. And on this next turn, I decided I'm just going to go for the Flamethrower because I figured Metagross could finish up here in a bit against the Celebi. But he energy balled again, evidently expecting that I would protect. So the wish came true. Healed my Sajafin up some more. And back came the Celebi, his last Pokemon. He got hit with some rocks, and I went for the Toxic right here, figuring that I knew it didn't have Leech Seed, otherwise he would have leeched first turn earlier, but my Toxic missed. I Toxic again, and he just ends up running. Good game, Noob Master Girls. Hope to have a rematch. Remember guys, rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.